What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is Gaming with the G Show. That's right, this is a video game podcast. Why? Why not? We're talking video games here. We're talking about Battlefield. We're talking about Bad Company. I am joined by G73, and I am joined by JR, aka Varon. Yo, you guys, we've been talking a bit off camera. Now we're on, well, we're not on camera, but we're on, okay? We're on the podcast. You guys are talking. Let me hear it. What are we talking about, and why are we talking about it? G73.
We're just pretty much talking about video games in general at the point. What makes them great, what makes them different, what was better, and what we miss, and what we think needs to be changed.
All right.
If we're going to get into that, I could drop one right now. Great game that I still play and plan on buying at the end of this month for my PlayStation 4. And if you can't guess what it is, you don't live.
For your PlayStation 4, so there has to be an exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Did you just say Skyrim?
Skyrim Remastered, yep.
Yeah, the remastered.
Oh.
Now, Skyrim all the way. I love the Elder Scrolls series. I still have my 360 and Skyrim. I played it yesterday, and I still am getting it for my PS4 so I can play it. That game did something that no game can do nowadays. Not even Fallout 4 can do.
And what is that?
Make it good.
What did...
See, I personally, myself, I like the differences of Fallout and Skyrim. It's pretty much my mood on those type of games. Do I want a shooter or do I want a medieval-style action-adventure exploring game? But I like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls a lot better than Fallout.
Yeah.
Now, see, I am of a completely different fucking take. I personally like the shooters. I own Skyrim. I have not played it. I've watched it be played. But I got mine for like $10 on some Xbox sale one time, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get it."
There are dragons.
Yeah, I know there's dragons. Hey, look. When I was young, okay, and you guys are definitely younger than me. So let's say when I was before your ages now, I always wanted to play a game like that, a medieval type of game, where you can go and slay dragons and things like that. And there was one particular game, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was called Hexen. Back in the days, it was on a computer, and I think either PlayStation 1 or the Nintendo 64 might have adapted that from PC. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But now you have these Skyrims. Now you have your Dark Side. Not Dark Side is...
there's Dark Souls.
Which one?
Darksiders is about heaven and hell. Dark Souls was the
Dark Souls. One. That's the one I'm looking at.
Yeah. And then you've got Dark Poles and Dark Holes and Dark Coals. You know, you got all those.
Yeah, I have no... Look, the only Cole I know is my main man Cole.
Bloodborne's more steampunk, gothic.
How was that game, by the way? I've been wanting... I wanted to get that.
So I like Dark Souls, but I could not play Bloodborne. It was too overwhelming to me, and it was just strenuous for me to play. So I sold it back, got a full refund, and then I got the Order 1886, and I loved that game so much. I loved fighting vampires and werewolves, and I hope they make a sequel, but if I end up selling my PlayStation and getting an Xbox, I won't be able to play the Order 1886, but it's worth it for Gears of War 4.
Well, I don't know. See, here's the thing. I've got my PS4, and the only games I've got for that is Infamous Second Son and Godzilla. Go figure.
I had Godzilla and then Infamous Second Son I just beat a while ago.
Yeah. I played about 45 minutes of Infamous Second Son. I have not fully gotten into it yet. For whatever reason, I have not immersed myself in my PlayStation 4. I need to, but I haven't.
Well, I can tell you why. It's the same reason. I have the same problem. You know, I have a handful of games. My favorite out of my bunch, including Elder Scrolls Online, is fucking Doom.
But the latest one?
Games nowadays go for money and profit. They don't go for the art style that Skyrim did, in my personal opinion, that Skyrim did. Now, obviously, Elder Scrolls sold out with Elder Scrolls Online. Fuck that game. Waste of goddamn money, in my opinion. But all games nowadays do the same shit. It's the same formula. Game, not a lot of content. Oh, here's your DLC thrown in your face. Pay for it, or you don't get to play it the way you want.
I like this. Let me throw this out there to you, though, JR. You say games, as far as not having a lot of content, there's still one particular company that does this type of shit. It's just not getting the kind of recognition or name brand, name brand anymore, and that's Nintendo. They were the first. They've been around. Well, they weren't the first. Let me rephrase that. But they've been around, and they conquered. They were the first to conquer the video game industry, the landscape of video games. And this was, of course, way before your guys' times. You're a little bit younger than I am, about a decade or so. But I remember when Nintendo was out, and shit, it was a fucking card company before it became a console company. But you had Nintendo games in the arcade. You had Donkey Kong. You had Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers changed the game completely. It brought console gaming at home to the next level, which is where we're at now. If it wasn't for the Nintendo Entertainment System, we wouldn't be where we're at. And Nintendo still pumps out those content-driven games as opposed to your Xboxes, your PlayStations, your Gears of War, your Battlefields, your Skyrims, where it's, hey, buy this package, but get the good shit later on and pay more for it.
Well, I kind of, I see, I agree, but also I disagree. I still think there are still some game companies out there that don't try to force as much money upon people after the game release. Activision is the worst one out of them all. EA is one of the worst ones out of them all. But, I still don't think, I don't think 343 Studios, Halo is that bad on what their stance is. And, Gears of War has a new, is it still Epic Games or is it a new
It's the Coalition. It's the Coalition.
I don't see them being as greedy, as all these other games.
Okay,
and what I'm going with is, I don't mind paying extra for DLCs. But it's the companies like Activision that make it play to win, where you have to buy stuff in the game to actually be good. I got Black Ops 3, and it was just so boring after you reached level. I prestiged about 7 times in that game, and I had everything unlocked, everything almost mastered, but the only way you could get good or keep it fun is if you get a new gun. But how do you get a new gun? You either play as hard as you can and just risk spending the points to get a new gun and get disappointed when you get nothing but crap, or you spend at least $1,000 on money for the game and get a decent weapon. And it's just, I think that's what's wrong, is that there's too many pay-to-win type of games nowadays.
JR, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I will use this video game franchise up till 4, but I'm going to go with it. Content, for me, and not paying to win, is something that should be nowadays, because I'm just going to say, I love the Silent Hill franchise. My favorite fucking survival horror game series of all time, up till 4. I have all of them, even the newer ones. And I can compare this, Silent Hill 1 to Call of Duty. I know, 2 different genres, but look at the content. Look what's there. Hours upon hours upon hours of silent, puzzles, mystery, monsters, combat, surviving in this godforsaken fucking town where, you got Call of Duty, you got maybe 3 or 4 hours worth of campaign, and then it's all spent in the multiplayer, and then you gotta buy maps for the multiplayer, you gotta buy this, that, and the other thing. What happens to having a solid game with a foundation, not even just a foundation, just a solid fucking game that needed no DLC. No Silent Hill game ever got DLC. Because they're solid games. It's a solid core. And that's kind of where Skyrim was, too. It's a solid core. That DLC added on to the experience. That's what I look for. Something to add on to my experience, not maps that should have been in the goddamn game to begin with. You know?
I agree 100%. And I'll throw something else at you that you just touched upon, which I love you for. The gameplay, the solid gameplay itself. For me, God of War was one of those games that all you do, you take your character of Kratos, you son of a bitch, and you go crazy. You do what you do, and I loved it. There was nothing that ever needed to be tweaked as far as controls go. When the first God of War came out, it was perfect. The controls were perfect. Was the difficulty a little bit rough? Somewhat, especially when you fought Hades. Spoilers, if you didn't play the game, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like 10 years old. And as it progressed, they never changed the controls, which I loved, thank you, because it was perfect. They upgraded the graphics, they gave you extra enemies, but what they never did was sell you on a multiplayer. When the multiplayer came out, which was what, Ascension? Or was it 3?
It was Ascension.
It was Ascension, right?
Yes.
Ascension is considered one of the worst games in that franchise.
And that was my favorite.
And I liked Ascension. I liked the story, but I've only played it fully through one time. Whereas the other 3 God of War games, and the PSP versions too. I played the PSP ones at least 3-4 times. But God of War 1 and 2, 7-8 times. God of War 3, 5-6 times. Played through. I do it pretty much every year. I go and I'll get on and I'll go through them. I'm a story-based driven type of gamer. I do not care about multiplayer. So let me throw this out there. One of my favorite franchises of all time is Star Wars. One of my favorite Star Wars games of all time, but not my favorite Star Wars game of all time, because my favorite Star Wars game of all time is my favorite game of all time. And that would be Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. That was on the GameCube. Greatest thing I've ever played. But
can I say my favorite Star Wars?
Nope, because I'm still going with my story, and then I let you go. That being all said, one of my favorite franchises out of Star Wars was Battlefront on the PS2. I loved it. I bought them. I loved them. I played them. They were great. I wasn't into multiplayer. I don't even know if there was multiplayer. I'm sure there was, but I never played it. When Battlefront was being relaunched almost a year ago, last November, I was like, it's mine, because my birthday is in November, so I was like, that's my birthday gift to myself. And yes, you know what I did? I spent the $120 on the fucking Ultimate Edition, getting all the DLC, everything that comes in, all the bells and whistles. I spent that money on it. I did. Because it was Star Wars.
Of silent for Ray.
Yeah, no, well, because A, it is my favorite franchise of all time is Star Wars. And B, I always liked the Battlefront. I knew going into that it was going to be only multiplayer. I suck at multiplayer. I got it anyway because I'm a Star Wars fan. I suck. I get my ass whipped all the time. When I get a kill, I was like, dude, like, if it isn't fucking flying the goddamn X-Wings or TIE Fighters, if I'm on the ground, my fucking average is like 6 and 15, 6 and 18. Seriously, it sucks. I am terrible. Terrible. And it kills me. Why do they do that? Why? So that's the question I'm asking to you guys. Why is it that these companies feel they don't need a story mode anymore? Just throw them in, because Battlefield 1 and 2 worked in a story mode. You can play, you can win. If you up the difficulty level, you might not win, but the challenge was there. Now, we have somebody like, let's say you, G73, or you, JR, who are nice in the multiplayer realm, and then it's me who absolutely sucks in it, going in because I love this franchise, and I can't fucking buy a win. I can't even spend $100 to win a game. Why are these companies not giving us single-player story modes anymore? Chase, let's start with you.
Honestly, the way I see it, there's no money in it. When you make a story mode campaign, you spend your money on that, people buy the game, that's it. The multiplayer aspect allows them to make more DLCs and allows them to charge people more money. Sure, you can have a DLC for the campaign, but what can you really do with the campaign except maybe one more mission or two more missions? Like Dead Space 2, for an example. That's one of my favorite games. I guess there was multiplayer. I wasn't too sure. I don't remember. I think there was multiplayer for Dead Space 2.
Yeah, there was. I remember playing.
Okay, so there was multiplayer, but what I remember is the campaign DLC. I remember the add-on for that, where you play as Carver, or maybe it's Dead Space 3 I'm thinking of. But either way, still the examples, Carver's in Dead Space 3 if I'm right. But Dead Space 2 had a campaign which was you don't play as Isaac, but you play as another guy during Dead Space 2. And it was still a phenomenal, fun DLC, but it was a campaign DLC. Dead Space 3 came out, and they gave a DLC for the ending of Dead Space 3, and it left off as a huge cliffhanger, and hopefully soon we get Dead Space 4. Visceral Games and EA are saying Dead Space isn't done yet, but it might not be till after the next Star Wars game we see another Dead Space.
But is Dead Space 4 going to be multiplayer? Is it going to be pure? Is it going to be made by DICE, and will it be pure multiplayer?
No, it won't be made by DICE. Dead Space will still probably be by Visceral and EA. But what I'm pointing is that if they were, those were campaign DLCs. They're maybe $14 each. Now, when you have something like Call of Duty, Black Ops 3, oh my God, this is the best example. Every DLC was about $15, and there was like 4 of them. So that's a big chunk of money. And not only that, for multiplayer, the different aspect is that you have to pay to win, but it just goes to more money for the game companies. And that's what it is now. Companies are like, well, shit, people are going to pay them and buy them either way. The main problem is that I can't blame the game companies for doing this because it's a business. So what I do blame is our society is succumbing to that.
Okay.
We are impulse buyers.
Gotcha. So, JR, is Chase calling me a sucker for paying $120 on a game, even though I love the franchise, I knew I couldn't win it?
I want to say something afterwards to that because
all right.
I want to.
JR, is G73 calling me a sucker for buying the $120 Ultimate Edition Battlefront?
Okay, let's not get me kicked off the G show.
No. That's a question, and it deserves an honest answer.
Okay, yeah, because the beta. You should have played the fucking beta.
Well,
I played the beta, and I knew after the beta I didn't want to play that fucking game.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, before you continue, I did play the beta, and that's what made me want to buy the game even more. Because I thought, and this was just because of me, I played the survival mode. I did not go and play the multiplayer. I only played the survival mode, and I fucking loved it. So I thought that they were going to bring to the table a lot more than they did, but all their focus was on multiplayer and the survival mode and it's just one fucking map, the practice map that we did in the X-Wings. I thought there would be more. I thought it was going to be a balance. There was no balance whatsoever. It's all multiplayer, and even though later on now I forgot what the fuck they is, Skirmish. We got Skirmish a couple of months ago. But that got tired quick, and I'm like, But I get you. I am a sucker, and that is the correct answer. You're not getting kicked off. But
here's that. Would you pay $120 for Star Wars Battlefront, where you get all the DLC in the game and everything, or would you pay $120 for Doom Special Edition, get all the DLC, the game, a fucking statue, fucking a goddamn map and a poster? It's the quality and quantity difference between there. EA wants to charge you for DLC in a game, whereas Bethesda with Doom wanted to charge you for fucking everything you could possibly want for the game, plus statues, plus posters, plus
more for your buck
and stuff. Yeah, you get more bang for your buck, and EA doesn't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about anyone but fucking money.
And Madden. And Madden.
Yeah, and fucking Madden. God. Fucking football game.
So here's what I want to go back into that, though, is that, so I'm a big Alien versus Predator fan.
Yes.
And when Sega brought out Alien versus Predator, I bought that collector's edition. I bought that $100 collector's edition with the facehugger, the comic, the Weyland Yutani patch, the Steelbook game, and the season pass for it. I bought that. I didn't mind paying that. And so what I'm saying is, if you're a fan of the game, there's no problem if you want to give more money to the company. Like, so an example is I am a Call of Duty fan. I like Call of Duty, but that's just because of the nostalgia I had growing up with my dad playing it, and me and him ruining multiplayer for other people. So Infinite Warfare, when that's announced, I am excited for that, and I'm actually thinking of, if I do get it, that I wouldn't mind paying for this special edition to get the season pass, to get all of it for it, because I am a fan of Call of Duty. I don't mind giving my money. But what does make me upset is the pay-to-win stuff. Now, I never have bought any of the pay-to-win stuff. I guess there's different type of people. If you're a fan of the game, sure, go ahead, spend your money on what you like, what you love. But there's another type of person that will not do that. They'll feel like they'll have to be forced to buy it, which, and the thing is I don't see a wrong issue with it, but there are some companies that utilize it to their advantage, and especially Call of Duty. I mean, this pay to win stuff is just too much. Even I don't really play Battlefield that much.
Oh, dude, battle packs, fucking microtransactions up the ass. It's
Stop your hate on the game, because Battlefield 1 is going to be the greatest Battlefield next to Bad Company of all time.
I played that beta and I wasn't impressed. It's nothing impressive. It's just a reskin to me. And that's not that's the point where it comes to multiplayer, is that they're just trying to half-ass it for $1. But I am a campaign person. I love campaigns. And believe it or not, there still is a rise for people that want the campaign, but there's still a rise, but it's also an in-between, because there are people that want both. I would love a game that has not only a campaign and a multiplayer, but they have to be balanced, they have to have equal attention, they have to have equal worth. But nowadays, it's not like that.
No.
And that's where it gets upsetting. Now, yeah, so I paid $100 for the AVP game, the collector edition. Sadly, AVP could have been a lot better, but it wasn't horrible like everyone thought. Now, it's a good thing I didn't get the collector's edition of Alien Colonial Marines.
You said it. Thank you. I got that.
Alien Colonial Marines, Sega, I hope you were listening to this. That game was trash, and it's not because of a personal opinion.
It's because of a personal opinion, because that game was not trash.
What they gave us at the pre-alpha event looked so much better. It looked like a great, suspenseful military shooter that was so cool, and then you gave us the final product, and whoever came in just fucked it all.
It was very tedious.
That was Timegate Studios. I've done my research on that fucking goddamn ass raping I took when I bought the collector's edition. I got the statue still.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not as mad as that game as you guys are, because I only paid $5.99 for a sealed brand new copy of that game. And I traded it in about a week later, after I beat it, I soaked up all the achievements I could, and I said goodbye, and I got rid of it. And no lying, I paid $5.99 for that game. I got $8.99 back.
But this is a different thing, because one thing I did love about Aliens Colonial Marines was the multiplayer. I loved customizing my alien and annihilating Marines. I loved that. But the campaign was such a disappointment. And I thought, from what we saw prior to that, at their E3 launch, their trailer launch, and their gameplay launch looked so much better, and it looked so cool. It looked like this could have been the Alien game we deserved. Then we got Alien Isolation, and I loved that game to death. Gotcha. That was a big standpoint. That was a great survival horror game. That game frightened me. That game captivated me. I loved it.
Well, listen, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm going to do this this gaming one. I want to do half hour, small little block. So before we wrap up, I want to get some final thoughts. Let's start with you, JR. Final thoughts. Anything you want to say about the gaming culture?
We're going to crash. We're headed for a crash. Real quick, we got the PlayStation 4 Pro coming out 3-4 years after the PS4, and it's not even a new console generation. We're headed for another crash like what happened back in the day. I believe it was the 80s, early 90s, when the video game industry crashed then. It's coming. That's why game developers are charging so much money for such little effort, because they know it's coming. They need to get all the money they can, because once it crashes, we could honestly see the death of consoles, because PC gaming it's PC gaming. It's the master race, and I hate to say it, but I play all consoles, and PC is where it's at. Consoles are dying. We're headed for the crash.
I don't want to agree with you, but I agree with you. G73, final thoughts.
I'm devil advocate. I don't see consoles crashing. I just see gaming losing its funk. And because people are going to play video games no matter what. Until video games come to a complete stop, people are going to buy video games. People are going to play video games. What's going to happen is video game companies are going to become so competitive. And this is one of the things why I praise Ubisoft right now, because they're taking a step back. We aren't going to see a Assassin's Creed or a Far Cry game for at least 2 years. I like that they're trying to take initiative in their game. And I think that's what game companies need to do. Since Call of Duty came out, it's been a yearly competition with game companies to make their selling game a priority every year to make money. And that's what's going to happen is Call of Duty is going to become so dried out, people are going to start backing away. And that's how I see it. Video games are just going to lose their worth. And then something else is going to come along and revive it, and it's just going to be another continuing cycle. But I do not see video games losing their souls permanently.
Nice. And that, ladies and gentlemen...
But to finish what I say before we sign off, video game companies, us as a society, we need to start learning to stop impulse buying and buying just because we're getting ass raped. And video game companies, shame on you for taking advantage. Things need to change, but they probably won't.
That will be the topic for the next podcast where we come in Gaming with the G Show. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be it for this edition of Gaming with the G Show. I want to thank G73. I want to thank JR. You guys fucking killed it. We will get up with yous next time. Until then, game over, man. Game over.